Hey Rodeo Family, thanks for tuning into the St. Paul Rodeo channel. We're glad to have you here, and check out this interview I did with Miss Rodeo Oregon, Sam Hendricks. We talk about how she got started in rodeo, what she did to try out for Miss Rodeo Oregon, and how she achieved the title of Miss Rodeo Oregon, and what she loves most about it. So stay tuned and check it out. I just want to see how are you doing today? How's life been?
Great. Thanks for having me.
Tell us your background in horses and how, or your background in the rodeo industry of like how you kind of got started.
Sure. So I grew up in Southern Oregon in a town called Rogue River, and we actually showed performance mules on the circuit, and a little unconventional than your typical showing horses, but that's how we grew up. And I started 4-H in fourth grade. I was a part of the Oregon High School equestrian teams, as well as just like open and local breed shows. I really, my family, we went to rodeos and we were fans when I was growing up, but I really didn't get into the rodeo queen scene until 2015 when I held my first title, which was the Wild Rogue Pro Rodeo Princess in 2015. And in 2016, I came back and was able to represent them as their queen. But getting into the rodeo queen world, as I like to call it, I actually met Miss Rodeo Oregon, Nicole Schrock, and she was at a mule show, actually, of all things to meet her at. And she kind of opened my mind to the thought of representing rodeo as a queen and kind of put that on my radar, which, before it wasn't, other than just being a fan. And that's what inspired me to try out for my local title. And then in 2017, I was Miss NPRA. So I got to represent the NPRA on a regional level. And then here I am today, Miss Rodeo Oregon. So I've been queen since 2015 and been holding titles since then. But I really had that show background and, stepped into the rodeo and barrel racing side of things when I was in high school.
Yeah, so I guess with Miss Rodeo Oregon, could you tell us a little bit about the title, what the organization stand for, kind of what you represent as a whole?
Absolutely. So as Miss Rodeo Oregon, well, I wear many hats, literally and and not. I am a politician as far as I need to know my current events and know what's happening in the agricultural industry. We're obviously horsewomen. I'm put on different horses at every rodeo, and having that confidence in the saddle is really important as Miss Rodeo Oregon and any title holder really. We are the spokesperson for Oregon Rodeo and the PRCA. And then we also just, have to radiate confidence. And I think that is a huge part, whether you are in the saddle or you are speaking to a classroom or a board or, what have you, being able to be comfortable and confident in your own skin, I think is the number one priority. And with that, you have to be, knowledgeable in rodeo rules and the history. Knowledge is power. And so, knowing those rules and knowing what you're talking about when you go to different events is really helpful in not only representing your organization or state, but yourself and your confidence as a whole. But Miss Rodeo Oregon, our motto is educate, elevate, inspire. And so, between myself, Morgan, and Ainsley, our teen and junior, we, travel across the state, educating people on rodeo, inspiring the younger generation, to get involved in our sport. And we've had a blast through 2020 and are all getting to roll over into 2021. So I'm looking forward to, more travels, hopefully this year with Morgan and
Yes.
Ainsley.
So I guess in your daily life, what are some traditions or actions that you've taken to kind of with rodeo, trying to honor that Western heritage and keeping it alive today? How do you keep those traditions alive?
Sure. I really think reaching out to the younger generation who are interested in agricultural views and lifestyle is the way to make sure it's alive in the future, right? So at home, I coach equestrian team. This is my fifth year as head coach for Grants Pass, and I love coaching. I was a part of equestrian team, as I mentioned, and I think I learned more about myself coaching than I ever thought possible as an athlete. So that's one way that I like to kind of give back and make sure kids are involved, not only equine industry, but the agricultural industry as a whole. And I really like to teach them that, you can use those skills after high school. Just because you graduate the program doesn't mean you have to stop riding, or doesn't mean you have to quit, showing steers or being active in FFA as a leader or a coach or what have you, or even, step into a rodeo queen role or into rodeo itself. I mean, those pathways and avenues really can lead you anywhere and after high school.
That's cool. Yeah, that's really exciting to see how we can progress up through even into our collegiate careers. Like there's a lot of people who do that, or even beyond that is, like you said, being a coach, that's so beneficial of giving back to the community. That's awesome to hear that you do that, and just really helping, giving the hand up to those who are younger and giving them that wisdom and courage to keep going and trying. So that's really awesome.
I try. I don't know if they listen all the time, but I do try.
I think you'd be surprised how much people pick up and watch and observe. And
Yeah.
as being your title is Miss Rodeo Oregon, what is one thing that you love or admire about the state of Oregon? And then what is something you love about Oregon rodeos?
Sure. So the state of Oregon has been my home. I've always lived in Southern Oregon. My home down here is diverse. We have a little bit of everything from the Rogue River to horse events, to Table Rock, to wine country, to far and few between, but it's a very diverse climate. I love my home state. I've been a lot of other places and I just always kind of come back to Southern Oregon. So it's my home. And for that reason, I love the Beaver State, and go Beavers. Hopefully I'll be a Beaver soon. So
Yeah.
and then as far as Oregon Rodeo, I think that last year was really a turning point and a come together moment for Oregon Rodeos at the Cascade Shootout. In a year that wasn't conventional for rodeo, contractors, personnel committees, everyone as a whole, they came together and produced that rodeo for the stock contractors and the contestants. Rodeo boards from across the state pulled together and made that event happen. And being a part of that event and being there each night really was special. And, seeing everyone pull together and work together for one common goal is one reason why. I mean, you can't help but not like our program that we have in Oregon.
Also, as Miss Rodeo Oregon, what's something that surprised you holding that title?
Sure. I had never flown in title before. You have to as your state title holder. So, you're up at 5 a.m. in the airport and you're in full queen gear. So that was one thing that I was a little surprised about when I had the title, when I first flew to Denver in January last year. But I also have when you go on a plane and you're a queen, you pack light, but as we know, rodeo queens don't really pack light, so that's a relative term. But I carried my hat can on the plane and then a carry-on bag with my chaps in it because I did not want to lose my chaps. So I was sitting there in the airport ready to board my plane, and I kept having someone look at my hat can, and she would kind of look over at it, and then she kind of whispered to her, she was sitting next to me, and she kind of look at it, and I knew she was just wondering what I was carrying in that. And so I finally reached over and I was like, it's just a hat. And I opened it up and showed her, and she kind of, her eyes got all big and everything. But it's definitely a different world walking through an airport, especially in San Francisco or Portland or a big hub. You definitely get a lot of people that don't know rodeo, and they don't know what you represent and are about. So that was definitely something I didn't expect going into it, but I always have a good time when I'm at the airports. I always meet somebody or sit next to somebody, and we end up talking about my title or where I'm going and what rodeo. And I think that's a really great way to kind of reach a public who maybe doesn't know about our sport or the Western way of life. But yeah. I now look forward to flying title because it always has some sort of
entertainment
story out of it. Yeah.
Get some entertainment, but it's cool to be able to reach those people, like you said, the new audiences who don't know about rodeo, and it's look at this cool thing that we're doing, and you could come be a part of that family, and so that's really cool.
Definitely.
That's just too funny. If someone is new to rodeo cleaning, what would you recommend that they do first?
Yeah, start at a local level. Start at your local rodeo. There's pretty much one, in every county across the state, and reach out if you don't know. There's tons of forums on Facebook that are really helpful for girls who are just starting out. Even when I first started, I didn't know what to wear. I came from a horse show background. So do I wear show clothes? I mean, even just little things like that you don't know about until you
Right.
get there and you're wearing something that nobody else is wearing. So yeah, check out those Facebook forums. They're great. Reach out to me, reach out to Morgan or Ainsley and ask about the title and what your requirements are. There's a lot of things, even myself as Miss Rodeo Oregon, I didn't know until I got the title. And you're going to run into that, So being flexible and moldable and just open-minded is a great attitude to have going into a title, because I could tell you all day about Miss Rodeo Oregon, but if you stepped in and got the title, it could be a different experience for you and you could do different things than I do. But really just finding people who, have been in the queen world and can give you advice, reach out. Don't be afraid. No question is a wrong question. And pursue it, even if you think that, I don't have a chance at winning, or I don't fit the mold, or what have you. Be your best self at the pageant. And the pageants that I haven't won, I've learned the most from those experiences, and you're able to come back, stronger and know the answer to the questions you didn't know the first time, and an all around positive experience. But I think, having that attitude going in, you're going to be more successful than if you are closed off and aren't willing to reach out and explore those avenues, really.
Yeah. Well, and I think you hit on a point there too, is like being flexible, because like a lot of these organizations or rodeos, they expect you to be a little flexible, one with your time and schedule, and just like they're gonna ask you to do like, you have the impromptu questions, like people just asking you random questions when you go to events, and so being flexible for the tryout just helps you prepare even for if you get or when you get the title, to know like, hey, this event might change, things are always changing, and even now, like especially now, it's like things change day to day. So yeah, for sure, being
Yeah, I
flexible.
mean, I had, like I told you at the beginning, I had a rodeo this weekend, and I was packed, ready to go, and things happen and things change, and being able to just roll with the punches. And if you are asked, to speak at an event 10 minutes before it starts, you have to be flexible and be able to run on your feet, because it does happen. I've spoken from experience, it does happen. And the farther up you get in your titles, whether you're a state or regional or Miss Rodeo America, I've heard stories of her all the time where she, doesn't really know 100% what she's walking into. And that's kind of the fun part of it, honestly. And it makes you challenge yourself and put yourself in a new box, so to say, because you don't know what they expect, or if you'll be talking or what horse you'll be riding. So that's fun. That's part of the challenge, and the draw for me personally is that you don't know what you're walking into all the time.
Right, yeah, keeps a little bit of, keeps you on your toes, right? You gotta keep
No,
going.
it keeps you fresh. Absolutely.
So, well, I want to thank you so much, Sam, for getting on air with me and being an interviewee. I really appreciate your time and encouraging and inspiring and educating the young rodeo queens out there, or those interested in trying out. So, thanks for that. And I want to thank you guys watching, tuning in.